Good morning, dear children. Welcome to today's English class. In this class, we are going to learn about the first lesson, A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise. This is a short story about a wrong man or an idler, which is written by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, he is our national poet. He was known by his pen name, Bhanu Singh Thakur. Truly a multifaceted personality. He is the first Indian to receive Nobel Prize for his Geetanjali, a collection of poems. So dear children, before beginning the class, let us observe the new words which are there in this lesson. First one, utility, means the state of being useful or profitable. Second one, indulge. Indulge means allow oneself to enjoy the pleasure of. Third one, quaint. Quaint means attractive in an unusual way. Not in a usual way, in an unusual way, it should be attractive. So that we will call that as quaint. Fourth one, vowed. Vowed means promised. Fifth one, shake off. It is a phrasal verb that means get rid of. Sixth one, whisper, means speak slowly. Seventh one, exalted, means feel delighted. Delighted means feeling happy. Okay, feel happy or feel delighted. Eighth one, lounge. What does mean by lounge? Lounge means lie, sit or stand in a relaxed or a lazy way. So whenever you are sitting or standing or lying in a lazy way or in a relaxed way, we will call that action as lounging. Okay, now let us begin the class. The man had never believed in mere utility. Having had no useful work, he indulged in mad whims. He made little pieces of sculpture, men, women, and castles, quaint earthen things dotted over with seashells. He painted. Thus, he wasted his time on all that was useless, needless. People laughed at him. At times, he vowed to shake off his whims, but they lingered in his mind. Dear children, in the beginning, the first line that says, the man had never believed in mere utility. That means this wrong man, an idle man, had never believed in the work which was giving profit to him. Having had no useful work, he indulged in mad whims. Mad whims means sudden desires. Whichever the sudden desires were coming to his mind, he was doing that work. He was finding his happiness. Allow oneself to enjoy the pleasure of. He was finding his pleasure. He was finding his happiness in the works which were said by his mind. He made little pieces of sculpture, yes. He prepared some models of men, women, some castles, right, with the help of clay, and he just found his happiness in that work. Later, what did he do? He painted. He found happiness in painting. He found happiness in preparing the sculptures. Thus, he wasted his time. His precious time was wasted in this useless works. Dear children, one thing we should remember, the works which are useful to us may be found by others as useless works, and the useless works which we feel they might be useful to others. Here, the writer calls the acts of this wrong man as useless works, but the wrong man was finding pleasure in his useless works. For him, they were useful. People laughed at him. When people laughed at him, people just wondered, oh my God, what he is doing here? He is simply wasting his time. People thought. When people laughed at him, he tried to come out of his mad whims. He tried to get rid of these mad whims. Did he get success? No. He didn't. Still, he just promised himself to come out of his mad whims. Still, they lingered, means they remained in his mind. They continued to exist in his mind. He didn't come out from his mad whims. Some boys seldom ply their books and yet pass their tests. A similar thing happened to this man. He spent his earth life in useless work, and yet after his death, the gates of heaven opened wide for him. Dear children, in our class, we look at some students. They don't study from the beginning of the year to the end. Still, they pass. How it is possible? From the beginning till the end, they don't study, but before the examination, when there are a few days, they start to study, and luckily they pass. Likewise, this wrong man, the one who was spending his time in useless works, was luckily taken to the paradise, to the heaven. How it is possible? But the moving finger writes even in heaven. So it came to pass that the aerial messenger who took charge of the man made a mistake and found him a place in workers' paradise. Dear children, moving finger writes even in heaven means whatever the work we do on earth will be mentioned in heaven. We believe in that. Moving finger. What is moving finger? Here in this lesson, moving finger means fate or destiny. Fate or destiny, it is a reference to God. Writer speaks about heaven, which is the abode of God, and fate or destiny that writes our work even in heaven. Here one thing you should observe, moving finger means fate or destiny is directly compared to God. So the figure of speech is metaphor. If we take the whole line, moving finger writes even in heaven, it is personification. The figure of speech is personification because the human quality is attributed to the inanimate thing. So moving finger writes in heaven will become personification. So it came to pass that the aerial messenger who took charge of the man made a mistake. Oh my God! The mistake was made by the aerial messenger. The aerial messenger who had to take him, who was given charge of this person, wrong man, took him mistakenly to the paradise. And what kind of paradise it was? It was workers' paradise. In this paradise you find everything except leisure. Here men say, God, we haven't a moment to spare. Women whisper, let's move on, time is a-flying. All exclaim, time is precious. We have our hands full. We make use of every single minute. They sigh complainingly. And yet those words make them happy and exalted. Yes, children, this is the paradise, this is the heaven, which is not what we think that the paradise which is filled with leisure. This is the paradise filled with complete work. Only work. Work is the motive of this workers' paradise. Here men say, God, we haven't a moment to spare. Yes, the men and women of this paradise, they are completely busy in their works. They never get rest. They never take rest. They always spend their time in their work only. That's why men say here, God, we haven't a moment to spare. They don't have any moment to spare for any other work. Women whisper. Women say very slowly, speak slowly and say, let us move on, time is a-flying. Means time is just moving, time is just running. We should work, we have works, and then All exclaim, men and women, all together they exclaim, time is precious. Yes, children, time is always precious. We have our hands full. Yes, they have their hands full with work. We make use of every single minute. Yes, they exclaim that they don't have any time to spend for useless work. Their hands are completely filled with work. They don't have not even a single minute to spend for any other work. Yeah, it looks like a complaint, but are they really complaining? No, they find pleasure in their work. These words make them happy. They make them exalted. They feel delighted, and they continue their work. They are really busy. But this newcomer, who had passed all his life on earth without doing a scrap of useful work, did not fit in with the scheme of things in workers' paradise. He lounged in the streets absently and jostled the hurrying men. He laid down in the green meadows or close to the fast-flowing streams, and was taken to task by busy farmers. He was always in the way of others. Yes, this newcomer, the wrong man, the idler man, who had spent his time on earth in useless task, in useless work, was taken to workers' paradise to work there. Can he really fit there? No. He didn't fit in this workers' paradise. He lounged. He simply relaxed by lying or by standing or by sitting in the workers' paradise. When these men and women of the workers' paradise saw him, they took him to work. When the farmers found him there, they took him for work. Did he work? No. He was always in the way of others. He was always he was wishing to trouble others. Yes, this person didn't fit in this workers' paradise.